Mike Tyson famously said that everybody has a plan and then you get punched in the mouth. Rocky Balboa famously said that life is not about how hard you can hit, it's how hard you can get hit and keep getting up again. Historians tell us that some of the most pivotal events in history happened as a result of an unexpected punch in the mouth. One of the most pivotal incidents in Western civilization happened as a result of an unexpected punch in the mouth. And tonight, I will share with you that story. That story is the story of the Battle of Marathon. Once upon a time, in about 500 BC, there was a lot of these Greek city-states, these fledgling city-states that were trying to figure out how to govern themselves. And the city-state of Athens came up with this idea of democracy. The idea of democracy, of self-rule that would later lead to things like human rights, freedom of speech, the ability of philosophers to stand on the street corner and openly argue about the best form of government, the ability of playwrights to criticize the government through the metaphorical stories they would tell. Guys like Socrates and Plato and Aristotle and the Aristotelian ethics upon which Western society is founded, which is why Greek culture is called the cradle of Western civilization. But all of that almost didn't happen, because when the Greeks were starting to expand their influence, when the Athenians were starting to expand their influence, they were starting to push up against the boundaries of the Persian Empire. And at that time, the Persian Empire was the biggest empire in the world. And they didn't like these pesky Greeks starting to feel full of themselves. So the Persians decided to get rid of Greek culture altogether. Their plan was to invade the city of Marathon, set up a stronghold in the city of Marathon, expand into Athens, take over Athens, expand down to Sparta, take over Sparta, and expand into Europe and make all of these Greek city-states vassal states of the Persian Empire. Had they been successful, guys like Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, the Aristotelian ethics might not have ever existed, which means Western society might not exist today. So the Athenians march over to keep the Persians from taking a stronghold at Marathon. And when the Athenians saw the Persian army, they were kind of like that guy from Jaws when he first saw the shark. We're going to need a bigger boat. And so they thought, we can't do this ourselves. We need help. So they sent a runner to Sparta to ask for help. Now, back during that time, around 500 BCE, the Athenians and the Spartans weren't the best of friends. So the runner gets to Sparta and says, Sparta, please help us. The Spartans say, yeah, we're kind of busy right now. We're having a festival to honor our highest god. But when we're done, we'll come down and see what we can do. How about that? So the runner is on the way back to tell the bad news to the Athenians. But on the way back to Marathon, he meets the god Pan. And the god Pan says, why don't you guys have a temple for me in Athens? The runner says, I don't know, it's not really my job. But the god Pan says, I'll tell you what, if you promise to put up a temple for me in Athens, I will promise to help you guys against the Persians. The runner says, okay, I'll relay the news. So the runner goes back to Marathon. The Athenians and the Persians are getting ready to rumble. And the runner tells the Athenians that they have the god Pan on their side. And they say, well, it's better than nothing, I guess. So the Athenians line up, the Persians line up, they start marching. Now, back then, the general strategy of warfare would be shields, shields, shields. They push up until they're shield to shield and just try to kill each other underneath and above and around the shields. And whichever team gives up first, the other guys win. But for some reason, when they were within about 100 yards of each other, the Athenians decided to use a very recently invented battle strategy, and that was to break formation and just run as fast as they could at the Persian. Their spears high, bloodlust in their eyes, screaming, "Ah!" Kind of like the Viking berserkers would do in another 1,000 years or so. If you're not familiar with the Viking berserkers, they would take a bunch of drugs, amphetamines, hallucinogens before going into battle and just kill whatever they could kill. Just kill everything in their path. And so here are the Athenians just rushing the Persians. Now, the god Pan is the god of confusion, the god of chaos, the god of mayhem. And the god Pan is where we get the word panic from. And that is exactly what the Persians did. They panicked. They were ready for a normal fight. And then they saw the Athenians when they freaked out. They backed up, they broke ranks, they tripped over each other, and the Athenians absolutely obliterated the Persians. According to military history, this battle, the Battle of Marathon, is one of the biggest upsets of all time. Even the Persian generals were flabbergasted about how badly they got beaten by these small, upstart Athenian Greeks. And this is when the Athenians sent the famous runner Philippides from Marathon to Athens. Because as you can imagine, the people of Athens were probably freaked out. Because if the Persians beat the Athenians at Marathon, it was only a short march to Athens. And if that happened, the Persians would kill and murder and rape and sell into slavery everybody in Athens and then burn the city down. So when the runner Philippides came from Marathon to Athens, which is 26 miles, and got to the town square and shouted, "Nike!" which is Greek for victory, the entire town celebrated. But the Persians still had a kind of a plan B. They were hoping to regroup, run back to their ships, sail around to Athens, hopefully do at least a little bit of damage before the Athenians got there. But the Persians were too slow. The Athenians were too fast. And by the time the Persians made their way around to Athens, the Athenians were already there, waiting. They were like Rocky in Rocky 3. Come on, you ain't so bad. You ain't nothing. Come on. And the Persians said, no, and they went home with their tail between their legs. So what's the moral of this story? Like Mike Tyson said, everybody will get punched in the mouth. And like Rocky Balboa said, it's how you respond to that is what will make the difference. So when you do get punched in the mouth, will you hide from your problems? Will you ask your friends for help and they probably won't help you? Will you try to negotiate with your problems? Or will you attack your problems with relentless viciousness and unmitigated mayhem and send your problems fleeing in a panic so that you can witness the greatness of your victory?